As I'm thinking of other cool things, do you want to quickly show off what those learning paths connected to the capability model end up looking like?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to the dashboard and just jump right into the capability model. And so this is the place where you would take the assessment. And this is also the place where you would create your learning plans. So I'm going to go ahead and jump. So if you, let me just jump into the assessment first. So this would be the starting point if you haven't yet done it. And this is where, again, you sort of can score yourself based on different skill statements. And then once you've done so, which I won't, it takes quite a bit of time. So I would definitely dedicate at least an hour to this if you're going to go through it all. You can do it in pieces too, save your progress, of course. But then once you do some of the assessments and get your report, this is really where you're going to start to see those recommendations. So you can, get those content recommendations and explore those. You can start to create your path. You can start to see a snapshot into your top capabilities. I've only ever done the personal assessments, so I don't have any other capabilities in my top. And then you can start to see also how do you rank yourselves in the different buckets of skills. So it's some really cool insight into your own assessment. But what you can then do as a next step is start to build your learning plan. And so this is really where it would be a better view once you take the assessment, because of course you have then resources to just pick from in a list. But since I don't, then it's like, okay, where do I want to start? I can start to build all different types of resources here. So you can see under learning sciences, there's 47 resources here. And based on sort of where you score yourself, mine's not looking very personalized, obviously, because I have not done the assessment in the professional capability. But what you can then do is start to see, okay, within here, here's different resources that you can start to build your plan out of. And the ones here with these stars, as you can see, are included in your membership. So if you were someone, again, who didn't have the resources at the moment or budget to buy different things, then you can just focus on these. So, and some of these are super simple. Like if it's maybe like, okay, let's add an article, let's definitely add a video, let's look at, what else do we got in here? Here's another article, and here's a micro course. So like, let's add a micro course too. So then once you start to, let me close this down. Once you start to add those skills, then the output of that is you start to, and then of course you can add your own, as I mentioned. So it doesn't necessarily have to be our resources, but if you find something on the web you want to add, you can do that. And then once you start to add those resources, then you start to have a plan here. So where you've got things in the queue, as you start to work through them, you can, I've completed this one. And then basically what that's going to prompt you to do, of course, is as you start to complete resources, you want to then reassess, right? The goal and the hope is that as you use those resources, then you increase your skill level. And then maybe when you do your reassessment, that becomes less of a focus because you've already developed that particular area. So this really starts to get robust, and then you start to see your timeline. You can start to, again, what's in the queue, what's up next, what have you already completed? And I think it becomes a really valuable tool for your own professional development, because it's not just like, oh, I should learn something today and go to the website and hopefully I find something that gets me something, closes the skill gap for me. This is really a good way to say, this is where I am today, this is where I want to be, and this is how I actually close those skill gaps and get there. And there's also another layer of this that I, don't spend a ton of time talking about just because it's an enterprise only thing. But if, for example, your organization is interested in doing some high-level analysis around entire teams' capabilities, there's a layer of analytics that we just rolled out where enterprise companies could buy a package of, I think it's called, I'm going to forget the name of it, of course. It's like the Enterprise Capability Outlook or something like that. But basically what it does is then say, create a structure of your team. So it's like Kevin reports to Brandon. And then basically what happens is, Kevin, when you make your assessment, I get the results. I do a assessment on you as well. And it then becomes a performance conversation tool.
Nice.
But you can both collaborate on, learning paths and plans together, where you can add resources, your manager can add resources, and then the learning leader has insight into capabilities across the function. So it's a really cool layer, but again, it's really an enterprise opportunity. Sure. So